Alright, so I've been asked to go over a few problems. So now we'll work these out step by step and hopefully it'll make sense. The big thing you have to remember whenever you're doing substitution is whatever you're plugging in, you have to put parentheses there. If you forget to do parentheses, you will mess up. So we're going to put 4 in for x, so that's going to be 4. And then since the x is squared, we're going to put a little 2 at the top to show that it is to the second power. And remember, 4 squared means 4 times 4, not 4 times 2. Minus 4 times negative 3 over 2. So I put in the 4 for x, a negative 3 in for y. So hopefully that makes sense. 4 squared is 16. If you did not know that, you could use Desmos. And Desmos, remember, is just desmos.com. Actually, let me just show you on my phone what it looks like on Desmos. There is a free app you can download. And that's what I would recommend doing if you have the space on your phone. But all you're doing is you type in 4 and then to the second power is 16. Then we think of this as negative 4. Since there's no operation between, we know it's times. So negative 4 times negative 3 is a positive 12 over 2. 16 plus 12. If you put that in your calculator, you will get 28. And then we have 28 divided by 2. So you guys go back to Desmos and type in 28 divided by 2. And you get 14. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll leave that up there for a little bit so you can copy it down. Okay, and then number 8, sorry. Number 8, we're going to do 5. C this time is negative 1. So you're going to put negative 1 in parentheses, squared, minus D. D is negative 4 squared plus 3. All over 2 times negative 1 minus 4 times negative 4. So remember, notice I put parentheses around each one of these. So order of operations says we do exponents first, so that's going to be 5 times negative 1 squared. Now this is where it's so important to use parentheses. If you forget to use parentheses, it's going to give you the wrong answer. So we're going to do negative 1 to the second power. Second power is also a squared. You get a positive 1 as your answer. Minus negative 4 to the second power. So I'm just going to go back and type in negative 4 instead of negative 1. And that gives us a positive 16. So notice, if you had not used parentheses around that, you would have gotten a negative answer. So that's why it's so important to use parentheses. And then we're going to multiply the bottom. 2 times negative 1, we all know that's negative 2. The negative 4 times negative 4 would be a positive 16. So now we combine those. Order of operations says we'd multiply next. 5 times 1 is 5. Minus 16 plus 3 over negative 2 plus 16. You could just put that in Desmos. Negative 2 plus 16 is 14. Okay, now we have 5 minus 16. If you put that in Desmos, that's going to give you negative 11. And then negative 11 plus 3 is 8. Or negative 8. Negative 11 plus 3 is negative 8 over 14. So, we got a improper, or we got a fraction that cannot be simplified, or a fraction that will not end up being a whole number. So what you do for this is you type in Desmos, type in the fraction, negative 8 divided by 14, and that gives you some crazy long decimal. Well, we don't want a crazy long decimal, so we want to change it back to a fraction, but in simplest form. So we press this little fraction button, maybe. There we go. And it gives us the simplified fraction, which is -4/7. And that's your answer. I will give you a hint. Number 7 is also going to be a fraction for your answer. So number 7 is also a fraction. I'll give you a second to copy that one down. That one was one of the hardest ones on this page. So it's probably a good thing you asked how to do that one. Okay, so our next one, we have 3 absolute value of 3 plus y is -5. Then our absolute value sign, so second power minus 3 times -5 to second power. So, order of operations says we do our parentheses or grouping first. Well, absolute value is considered grouping, so we're going to do that first. 3 plus -5, well, 3 plus -5 is -2. Then squared minus, we do the next set of parentheses. Since these are side by side, we know that means multiplying. So 3 times -5, if you put that in Desmos, it will give you -15. And then squared. So now we would find the absolute value of -2. The absolute value of -2 is a +2 minus the absolute value of -15 squared. And notice the -15 is in parentheses. So you're going to pull up your Desmos and you're going to do -15, close your parentheses, squared. That gave you a +225. So 225. And we just brought down the minus symbol. Well, now we have this 2 squared. Well, we know 2 squared just means 2 times 2. So that's going to give us 4. So now, bringing it back up here, that's going to be 3 times 4 minus 225. 3 times 4 is 12 minus 225. And your answer is going to be, let's see, 12 minus 225. I'm going to put that one in Desmos just to make sure. You get -213. So yeah, these just require a lot of work. Now the nice thing is we have been doing this for a few years. You did this in middle school. It just requires time and working it out. So this should just be review. Now, I do know it takes a lot of time, and we all don't like to, we like to spend, basically everyone wants to work out a problem as fast as possible, and there's no shortcut to these problems. So that's a hard part. But hopefully this makes sense, and it will help you do the other ones. Just email me back if you have any questions.